Welcome to episode 10 of Our College, Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. As we begin today, a reminder, don't forget there is still time this month to fill out our survey and get in on the planning for 2019 episodes. Visit our website at ivytech.edu/podcast to find all of the information you need to complete the survey. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about Next Level Jobs, a program launched by Governor Eric Holcomb in 2017 that aims to provide Hoosiers with free statewide training in high-paying, high-demand industries. Today, I'm joined by two people who have been working to make sure we connect those interested in Next Level Jobs with Ivy Tech and that frontline staff understand how Next Level Jobs can help our students. First, Ann Valentine. Hi, Ann. Welcome back to the podcast.
Hello. I'm Ann Valentine, Vice President for Workforce Partnerships at Ivy Tech, and I've been helping guide our efforts with Next Level Jobs and the Workforce Ready Grant for the last year or so.
Thank you. You're here for every episode, but it's also nice to have you back on a mic again.
It's kind of fun.
And then also we'd like to welcome Zach Smith. Hi, Zach.
Hi there. My name's Zach. I'm a legislative and program manager at the Commission for Higher Education. Really happy to be here. I have been involved with the Workforce Ready Grant and Next Level Jobs program as we've rolled that out at the Commission for the last year and a half, working with our commissioner and associate commissioners on this very important initiative.
Excellent. Thanks. Welcome, Zach. To both of you, I'm just going to throw out several questions and you can sort of go back and forth. What is Next Level Jobs?
Next Level Jobs is, as you mentioned, Governor Holcomb's workforce and education training portion of his Next Level agenda. And the premise of Next Level Jobs is focused on the fact that too many Hoosiers lack the skills for the jobs that we have here today and are being created for tomorrow. So we're really focused through this program on upskilling individuals to make sure they're ready for work in the 21st century economy here in the state of Indiana.
Why is the governor focused on credentials shorter than an associate degree?
As we work to upskill and make sure that we have the correct attainment level here in the state, we recognize that there's currently some gaps in our workforce. So we have an attainment goal to have 60% of our working age Hoosiers have some sort of quality credential beyond high school. And currently our attainment level is at a little over 41%. So we're trying to hit that goal by 2025. And currently we need every tool in the toolbox to make sure that it's a reality. So when you look at the census numbers of where we sit as a state, we've got roughly 700,000 or more Hoosiers who have some college credit but no credential. And that was really the focus of the initial initiative that the commission had, the You Can Go Back program. And Next Level Jobs is an evolution of You Can Go Back. So we're really focused on trying to make sure that the Hoosiers that don't have some college credit, that we give them an opportunity to access programs that they might not know they're eligible for. And that's the space that Ivy Tech and Vincennes fill for the state of Indiana in terms of quality credentials that are short-term, that will have real workforce currency once they complete and can really upscale where we're at in terms of our workforce and our economy. And did you want to add some more?
The great thing about this is that we share the same goal for the state in our strategic plan, which is that by 2020, we'll have 50,000 credentials annually that we'll be awarding at Ivy Tech. And we know we need to do that in a variety of areas, associate degrees, but also in shorter term credentials in those TCs or CTs, or even in the workforce credentials that are available. And the great thing about the governor's Next Level Jobs program is it really helps us focus on those jobs, those programs for which there are jobs out there waiting to be filled. And we know we have the state is filled with folks who have a great work ethic. We just need them to get those credentials so that they have a job in the future. One of the concerns is we have virtually no unemployment right now. So if you have a job, it's hard to see why you might want to get a credential or degree when you've got a great job right now that pays the bills and you can support your family. But we know that at some point that's going to change. And we want to make sure that we equip those adults with some credentials that are transferable so that they are the first ones in line for a job when they might need one. And having those credentials helps to do that. And the great thing about this program is it's focused on It's got real clear sectors that we're focused on: advanced manufacturing, building and construction, health and life sciences, IT and business services, and transportation and logistics. And it's just a great way to sort of guide what you might want to do, because sometimes it might be overwhelming to figure out what those jobs are or what the credential or degree you might want to have with that. But the commission and the governor have done a great job of really focusing our efforts on those sectors where we know there are jobs and the employers want to hire our folks who have those credentials and degrees.
You've already dug into this just a little bit more, but I'm going to ask you to expand on it a bit about why next level jobs is important to Indiana. And I think from the last question, what I'm most interested in is maybe a little bit more about why those 5 sectors and what about the jobs in those sectors do we know is going to keep Indiana growing.
Great thing about this initiative is the commission has, through this initiative, been able to work hand in hand with the Department of Workforce Development, Ivy Tech, and Vincennes to look at the data out there in terms of what are the sectors of the economy that are growing, where are there high demand, high wage jobs, and those sectors that Ann listed, along with agriculture, are the top 6 fastest growing, high demand, high wage areas of our economy in terms of where we have needs now and where we will continue to have demand during this next decade. So if someone were to get a credential in this field, they're going to have real workforce currency. They're going to be able to get a job that will have wages way beyond the state median wage. So we're really helping individuals, as the governor says, move to the next level with some of these opportunities. And it's just encouraging folks to, as Ann said, to skill up at a time when it might not seem that you need to, but we're trying to prepare for down the road and help these individuals see that in many cases they might be able to take advantage of this at little to no cost to them.
I think the great thing too with the short-term credentials, sometimes it might seem overwhelming. To a 2-year degree, an associate degree, and that's a 2-year degree if you are going full-time. But the great thing about the focus of the Workforce Ready Grant and the Next Level Jobs is on those shorter credentials. In some cases, it's a workforce credential, so it's non-credit, but you go and take a class, and at the end of that, you have a credential that an employer can recognize that you have a skill in that area and are ready for the job. Other cases, it's something that can be done in 6 months, or it might be a year, and going part-time to do that. It's just an easy way, if you are still fully employed, to prepare for the future, as Zach was saying.
And as Ivy Tech, as we seek to transition to 8 weeks, we're allowing people to complete those even more quickly, even if they're only taking 1 class at a time. So I know that's a driving force for us as well to try to help speed folks to a degree. Zach, talk to me a little bit more about, we use CHE as an acronym and we sort of take it for granted, but the Commission for Higher Education, talk with me about their role in Next Level Jobs.
The Commission for Higher Education is the state's coordinating body, and and part of that role, we administer all of the state's financial aid dollars. So we are very generous in state financial aid in the Midwest, especially need-based financial aid. We're first in the Midwest, and we are now number 4 out of 50 states in terms of our generosity in terms of financial aid.
That's fantastic.
Which is great news. Of course, the majority of those monies are dedicated to the 21st Century Scholarship Program, our Early Promise Program for individuals who sign up in the 7th and 8th grade and take advantage of that, whether that be at Ivy Tech or Vincennes for 2-year degrees or for a 4-year degree at our other institutions. And then the Frank O'Bannon Grant, which is need-based at either our public or our private institutions. But we had carved out money several sessions ago. It used to be a part-time grant. We transitioned that to an adult student grant. So that's dedicated monies for adults who wanted to could basically go part-time and fulfill their degree goals. And they could use that for an associate's, a bachelor's, or even these certificates. What we found is we still had some monies left over, and working with our partners at Ivy Tech and Vincennes, found a way to carve out some money to create the Workforce Ready Grant. The governor came on to this idea back in 2017 during the session, and we basically took that and ran with it in terms of an agenda item. So, almost we're getting ready to go into our 2019 session. Almost 2 years later, we've seen some really strong progress in terms of the goals of the Next Level Job program, and in terms of the commission's role in making sure that we're promoting this along with our partners, Ivy Tech and Vincennes, and our partners at the Department of Workforce Development, who also maintain the non-credit side of this program. Ivy Tech obviously offers non-credit programs as well, so they benefit from both sides of the Workforce Ready grant in terms of the credit-bearing side and the non-credit bearing side. Very in the weeds right now. Most people, we want people to know that there's money to pay for this.
Right.
They don't need to know the specifics of credit bearing and non-credit bearing. And so that's our role, is to promote this opportunity about free training that is available to many folks who attend Ivy Tech, and really elevate and amplify that message for the state, and to help Ivy Tech bring promotion to these areas and these very strong workforce credentials.
The great thing about working with CHE over the last year or so since this launched, they've been great partners in listening and learning about our students and the challenges with recruiting, that when someone expresses an interest, that doesn't always automatically translate to an enrollment.
Right.
What we have found with the folks who do express interest in Next Level Jobs is they convert at a higher rate for us than just general leads, which is great. And just other changes that the commission has made along the way. In some ways, it's small things like how we get the information on the leads from them, changing the way the website is set up. The nextleveljobs.org is the website where if you just want to learn about Next Level Jobs, and then it will we get connected with those folks who have expressed an interest. So they're just really great partners in adjusting the program. There have been some tweaks to eligibility based on feedback. Certainly, you referenced You Can Go Back. We learned a lot. I think both of us, CHE and Ivy Tech, learned a lot from that program and made some adjustments to this Workforce Ready grant based on what we learned from that. A lot of folks who have credential or have some college and no degree, it's harder for them to come back to school. They may have sapped out. They may owe us money, or there's just a lot of hurdles beyond just the regular hurdles as an adult coming back to school. So there have been changes made to the program for that. It's also been expanded to include, the Workforce Ready grant has been expanded to include what are considered dependent students, so your traditional high school age students. Those folks have to go full-time to get the grant, but adult students only need to be part-time to get the grant. But we've already had, this fall semester, we have over 6,000 students enrolled in Workforce Ready grant programs, and we saw an 11% increase from last fall to this fall of folks registered and enrolled in those Workforce Ready eligible programs. So we're seeing success. And as I mentioned, it lines up so perfectly with our strategic plan and our goals that President Ellspermann talks about, the enrollment goals that we have and the completion goals that we have. And this is just a great program to support that.
You've mentioned part-time and adult students and full-time and high school students. So tell me in a nutshell, who is eligible for the Workforce Ready grant?
Great question.
I'll let Zach handle that.
So to be eligible for the Workforce Ready grant, you need to be a resident of the state of Indiana and also an eligible U.S. citizen or eligible non-citizen. You must have completed a high school diploma or an equivalency diploma, GED, but it's important that you have to have less than a full-time associate's degree. So you cannot already have a degree, bachelor's, associate's degree, to be eligible. So we're really focused on that high school degree population. The great thing about the Next Level Jobs program is if you did not have a high school diploma, we connect you with an opportunity to get enrolled into a high school equivalency program through the Department of Workforce Development. So we have seen some strong leads there, and we're really changing lives in the opportunities that provides. The Department of Workforce Development has opportunities for students to get a high school equivalency and a workforce credential at the same time. So that's great. So Indiana resident, high school diploma, but less than a degree. And then you need to enroll in a qualifying program, either at Ivy Tech, Vincennes, or at any of the eligible non-credit bearing programs administered by the Department of Workforce Development. So since we're talking about Ivy Tech, we'll talk about the credit bearing side. Okay. So to be eligible for Workforce Ready grant, you need to fill out the FAFSA, so the free application for federal student aid that will show the commission what your need might be. And the great thing about this program is it will cover anyone in these qualifying programs if they have need or they don't. So it's a last dollar program, and the commission puts the Workforce Ready grant on top after Pell potentially fills in the gap, and we fill in the rest of that tuition and fees portion.
Can I just a little further on the whether or not the need or not. So if you have qualifying need under the FAFSA and the Pell comes in or some other state aid comes in, great. That's part of why we want you need to complete the FAFSA. But if you do not meet those need requirements, those are the folks for whom the Workforce Ready grant is great for, because then it covers regardless of need, which is unusual in our world. Sometimes those are scholarships if you've qualified in a very specific, narrowly defined, but this is great because these are the programs that lead you to jobs. And so even if your income is such that you wouldn't qualify for anything else, you're in that program getting a CT or a TC, and it's a Workforce Ready grant eligible program, the Workforce Ready grant will cover you, which is something we don't see often.
Not often at all. And a CT is a short-term certificate, usually under 30 credit hours. A TC is about 30 credit hours. It's 1 year. It's a technical certificate, 1 year of an associate degree.
And as all of our folks in Ivy Tech know, but for those who might not be in Ivy Tech and listening to our podcast, we have teams of people on every campus that can help you complete the application for Ivy Tech and figure out what program you might want to enroll in and fill out that FAFSA. Sometimes government paperwork seems a bit overwhelming.
It's a little complex.
Yes. It's a bit complex. And so we've got folks on campus who can help you with filling out your FAFSA, which might be overwhelming.
And the other great thing is you don't have to go to nextleveljobs.org to enroll in one of these programs. You can walk right in at Ivy Tech, and Ivy Tech will help you get signed up. It's not a prerequisite. It's just a way to get folks that are interested in these programs to Ivy Tech and Vincennes. So they've done a great job, as Ann mentioned, about letting people know who are interested in these programs to get them included in that. So that's not a barrier as well.
The Next Level Jobs website does, however, have the best list.
It has great information.
Great information on the programs that are eligible for that, as well as it helps you determine maybe what location is best for you. Certainly, Zach's mentioned Vincennes, and they're a great partner of ours. And I appreciate the approach we've been taking, that they serve a population, and we are all in this together. So Next Level Jobs, the website does help you discern if Vincennes is the right location for you, or if it's an Ivy Tech campus around the state where those programs are offered.
Also want to talk a little bit, Ann mentioned the difference between full-time and part-time.
Yes.
So again, it is important to know that if you are what we call an independent student, so age 24 or older, you have a dependent at home, you're married, you might be a veteran, most working age adults fall in that category. You can enroll half-time in these programs and are eligible for 1 year of renewal. So if it takes you more than a year, then you're able to renew the award and can complete part-time.
And that's 6 credit hours per full term.
Right.
So if someone comes to us in the second 8 weeks, they can enroll just for 1 3 credit hour course in that second 8 weeks, provided they continue then the next term to get 6 credit hours in that term.
Correct. And then, as Ann mentioned, if you're a dependent student, so typically age 18 or older and are still under your parents' tax information, you can take advantage of this opportunity and will need to complete full-time. So you have to complete 12 credit hours a semester to be eligible for the program. Ann mentioned, and you kind of alluded to, a lot of these programs are stackable. So that's the great thing about this program. And especially, we say it all the time, Ivy Tech's designed this in such a smart way for students to take advantage of the funding and stack these credentials. But at the commission, we know that sometimes life gets in the way. So if life gets in the way for a student who's taking advantage of the Workforce Ready grant, they have a strong opportunity to at least leave with one of those CTs. But if we encourage, and Ivy Tech's been encouraging students to enroll in that technical certificate, because they're going to earn those credentials along the way towards the TC, the technical certificate. And that's really that's very student friendly, and it's very beneficial for the state to allow students to have a credential if life does get in the way and they don't complete the TC.
And we're trying to, I'll preview something that I'm sure we'll talk about in 2019 on a podcast episode. We're trying to get even better at that work, which is by developing what we call linear pathways, which do show students a clear roadmap to that, first that CT, and then that TC, and then that associate degree if they want to stay with us through the whole 2 years, which we certainly hope they do. But we want to make sure that we're showing them that progression and that opportunity to earn those certificates. So what's available for employers related to Next Level Jobs?
As I mentioned, the Next Level Jobs program is a partnership between the Commission for Higher Education and the Department of Workforce Development. The sister program of the Workforce Ready Grant is the Employer Training Grant, which is administered through the Department of Workforce Development. And the Employer Training Grant provides reimbursement for employers for training and retaining employees in high-demand, high-wage industries. So all of those 5 industries, and I'll name them again: advanced manufacturing, building and construction, health and life sciences, IT and business services, transportation and logistics. Those 5 are all Workforce Ready Grant eligible programs. But then, as I mentioned earlier, agricultural industries also applies for the Employer Training Grant. And you can learn more about the Employer Training Grant also at nextleveljobs.org. So it's important to maybe read some more on the specifics. But basically, employers can be reimbursed up to $5,000 for each new or incumbent employee who is trained and retained for 6 months, up to $50,000 per employer. So this is a really strong program that's had a lot of interest across the state for employers to basically upskill their employees. And, this program, DWD, works with the employers directly. They verify that the employers have a training plan and that it's aligned to an approved occupation that's Next Level Jobs in those sectors, and that the training isn't something already that the company is already doing. So it's not paying for onboarding or that sort of thing. But it's been a strong asset for employers to help recruit and retain employees, whether they be new employees or incumbent workers, to help move individuals along the pipeline for them.
The great thing for some employers that have explored the Employer Training Grant, but it might not be the right fit for them or the employee that they have, we've had conversations with them about, well, let's look at the Workforce Ready Grant for this employee. And that's a really great commitment that those employers are making to their teams, that they want to keep those folks employed and get them a credential that will serve them through their entire career. So it's DWD has been a great training partner. They're using up a lot of the funds, and we want to be able to do the same on our side of the work. And that's part of what we're out there doing every day that we can, is trying to get more individuals signed up. But it's the employers are making this work so well with DWD, and then sending them students to us when that might not be the right fit for them.
Excellent. Good.
I just wanted to say that we really enjoy working with Ivy Tech, and this has been a strong initiative. We've been at this since August of 2017 is when we launched this. As Anne likes to joke, literally in the 11th hour.
5 minutes before.
I think she said that on the podcast before, actually.
5 minutes before Ivy Tech enrolled students for fall of 2017 classes. But as we have rolled out our marketing efforts along with our partners and the leads that we've generated from Next Level Jobs, last week we hit over 30,000 leads across the state.
That's fantastic.
And that includes a lead in every county of the state. So all 92 counties have seen strong leads that have been generated to Ivy Tech, Vincennes, and our other partners. So we will keep the foot on the gas. We hope to continue to convert more of these leads to enrolled students. That's so important. And then after they're enrolled, actually have these students complete with a certificate that will allow them to have strong workforce currency when they go out there to get a job and ultimately better themselves, and along the way that benefits our state.
Awesome. We hope today's conversation has helped you learn a little bit more about Next Level Jobs and Workforce Ready grants and why they are important for Ivy Tech Community College. In each episode, we ask you to engage in a call to action. First, if you'd like to learn more about Next Level Jobs, you can check out their website at www.nextleveljobs.org. We'd also love to hear your ideas of ways Ivy Tech can prepare to support students enrolled in next level jobs or connect employers with available training, things we should consider that we might not have considered yet. You can always email us at our podcast email, ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu. Thank you again for joining episode 10 of Our College, Your Voices. I want to thank the panelists today. Ann Penny Valentine is Vice President for Workforce Partnerships at Ivy Tech. You can connect with Ann on Twitter at IndyPenny. And Zach Smith is the Legislative and Program Manager with the Indiana Commission for Higher Education. You can connect with the Commission on Twitter at HigherEdIn, HIGHEREDIN. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNMTweets. Ann is also our illustrious producer. Again, her Twitter handle is at IndyPenny. The email address for the show is ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu. Our website is www.ivytech.edu/podcast. It's maintained by Tracy Allen. Production assistance for this and every episode is provided by Becky Campbell, Sarah DeWitt, and the Ivy Tech Community College marketing team. And our podcast concept was by Matthew Pittman. Theme music, recording, and post-production services provided by Jen Eads at the Brassy Broadcasting Company. We will see you next time on Our College, Your Voices.